This is my last keyboard. Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So today I'd like to go over a comment that someone from Apple made in an interview video. I'm not going to link the interview video because I know what's going to happen in the comment section of it, and I just want to be nice here. But I will quote from the interview. This is regarding Apple being mandated, along with every other smartphone manufacturer, to create smartphones with user-replaceable and user-removable batteries that are easily removable, not stuck behind a panel with glue and all this other junk, if you were going to sell a smartphone in the EU. And I quote, "We absolutely believe that if people need a battery replacement, there should be a safe and effective way to do that," Turner said in the interview. "You can make an internal component more maintainable by making it discrete and removable, but that actually adds a potential point of failure. Using the data, we can understand which parts of the phone need to be repaired and which parts are actually better made so reliable that they never need to be repaired." It's always a kind of balance, and they're implying here that they're going to try to not comply with this regulation in the EU when it mandates that the battery be somewhat easy for the user to be able to repair and replace without needing specialized tools and other nonsense. And I thought we would dig into this a little bit and dig into what the data says about repairability and how much Apple cares about the data. With some of the recent iPhones, they have made it where the microphone flex cable is sandwiched between two pieces of sharp metal that, when you drop, will slice the flex cable. And when the microphone is sliced, the phone doesn't tell you, hey, by the way, there's an issue with the microphone. The phone reboots every 2 to 3 minutes in a manner that you will only be able to debug if you use third-party software to read the crash logs. Were they using the data to engineer a more durable device when they made that design decision? Apple designed the machine with a screen cable that is too short, so that when you open the machine all the way, if you do that too many times, you actually wind up breaking and cutting the backlight cable, which causes you to have no display on a cable that is something that is not easily replaceable. You're going to have to actually solder in a replacement to be able to fix this. And what's more disgusting here is they do not cover this on all three models affected. This happens on the A1706 from 2016, the A1706 from 2017, and the A1707 for 2016 and 17. Only one of those three models is covered, even though the design defect exists on all of them. According to the data, it is an issue, and according to the data, they did actually wind up making it longer in recent years, and in spite of the fact that they made it longer in recent years because they knew it was a problem, they didn't cover you over there. They designed a machine with a soldered in SSD that is put together in a way that often sends 20 volts over to the SSD. When that happens, the computer is useless. Not only is the SSD dead, but they designed it in a specific way where if the SSD dies, you cannot boot the computer using an external drive anymore. With those newer machines from 2019 and up, if the SSD is dead, it doesn't just turn on and not boot into an operating system. It just doesn't turn on at all. It's totally dead. One of my personal favorites over here, absolute personal favorites, is that they have a 50-volt power line for the LCD backlight, and apparently, according to the data, the place that you should put a 50-volt power line is right next to a 1.7-volt data line that goes straight to the CPU with no protection in between. So that when there is humidity, you end up getting 50 volts sent directly to your CPU. An overclock of an Apple product that even Linus would be proud of. And they did it for 4 years. Apple cares about the data. They use the data to design more durable products. And the data tells them that the product will be worse off if the user can easily replace their battery. Do you think that Apple gives two shits of a fuck about data when it comes to repairability and durability of these products? If they cared about data when it came to repairability and durability, would they produce a product that for 4 years straight sends 50 volts to the CPU? Would they produce a product for several years straight? Right now, we're going on 3 years of a product that sends 20 volts to the SSD, but further, when it does that, is not even able to turn on so you can boot from an external drive and continue to use the computer with a backup. When data tells them about their own design flaw, do they take accountability or responsibility for it? They haven't even fixed this yet, where you have a device that when the microphone stops being detected, doesn't tell the customer why, but it randomly restarts around every 1 to 3 minutes. These people don't give a shit about data, and they don't care about durability. The other person involved in this interview was Lisa Jackson, one of their top environmental officers, who was quoted as saying this in 2017. And I quote, "I don't think you can say repairability equals longevity. I often say if you're in the repair business, repair seems like the answer. But actually, you need to design for the life cycle. And Apple has designed for some time around durability, around the idea that we can release the latest and greatest product, your old product still works and has value. Our first thought is, you don't need to repair this. When we do, we want that repair to be fairly priced and accessible to you. To think about these very complex products and say the answer to all our problems is that you should have anybody to repair and have access to the parts is not looking at the whole problem. She said the quiet part out loud. Our first thought is, you don't need to repair this. Now, I understand and appreciate that Apple tends to give longer operating system updates than almost any other Android phone manufacturer. And when she talks about the life cycle of the device, that's fine. We can give Apple credit for the fact that they'll give you iOS updates even if you have an older phone. But we're not talking about iOS updates here. We're talking about repairability. And combining the two is disingenuous at best. There are many times where the customer's first thought is going to be, damn, I really do need to repair this, where they're right. Oh, your device has 750 volts of the CPU. Our first thought is, you don't need to repair this. Buy a new one. Oh, your device sent 20 volts to the SSD? Our first thought is, you don't need to repair this. Buy something new. Your device is randomly turning off the screen because we designed it with too short a screen cable and fucked you out of the recall because you have the 2017 model and not the 2016. You don't need to repair this. Buy a new one. The balls on these people. The absolute balls. And I genuinely wonder if the people that listen to that interview are going to fall for it. I hope the EU regulators don't. And I'm always open to talking to you at any point in time. I would be happy to go over every single piece of bullshit in that interview for any EU regulator who's curious. But I don't think I need to. I think they can see through that themselves. I hope they do. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Do you believe that Apple is data-driven when it comes to repairability and durability of their products? Or do you think that they design products with design flaws year after year after year after year, don't take accountability and responsibility for it, and then have their senior VPs come out and say, our first thought is, you don't need to repair this because maybe, just maybe, they make more money when you don't. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.